Alrighty, we are back, and today I want to talk about LR EZAs, which ones are the best, and sort of put them in a tier list format. Now, Dokkan is currently doing their fan festival today, September 6th, and there is news ongoing as of the time that I'm recording this. People are talking about things that are going on in the event, and we will cover everything major tomorrow, assuming that there is an LR reveal. We'll talk about that probably when it is announced, at least briefly. Because there's not going to be too much going on with that. I think that mainly there's going to be like a sort of like it's going to be like fan footage or whatever, and people are just going to be talking about it and things like that because there's no official capacity for it. They're not broadcasting it on their YouTube channel or anything like that. So it's very tough right now. There's a lot of information that's coming out, and a lot of people are baiting on Twitter, saying information that's coming out that is not actually coming. Right? I saw something about like the EZA for Ultimate Gohan and Piccolo. That's not real. So just keep that in mind if you are scrolling Twitter today, that you need to keep that in mind. So while the game is a little bit slow and we're waiting for festival news, or not festival news, but part 2 news from the fan festival and things like that, we are going to be talking about LR EZAs and putting them into the tier list format. This is mainly via the update that Golden Frieza has brought towards the table here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll just kind of go in the order that I dragged these characters up here. And first and foremost, we will do Full Power Frieza and Namek Goku. I think these are both very good LR EZAs. Mainly, their main sort of usage is going to be in the Festival of Battles. Frieza being on the Successors category, you can go ahead and include him on the AGL Gogeta-led team. I think that he ends up working out pretty well. The ability to stack the buffs against superclass enemies, which the Festival of Battle mostly has. The ability to have the initial damage reduction right off the start. The way he works out with other Frieza characters. I think this is a decent LR EZA at this point. Just not as good as some of the other ones on this list, as you guys will see later on. The bar is a bit high right now in terms of who is on the Z tier, who's on the S tier, and I think these guys are okay, right? They fulfill their purposes that they need, especially with Full Power Frieza. It's just Wicked Bloodline and Terrifying Conquerors and Space Traveling Warriors. These are just not like teams that most people are running right now. If we look at Wicked Bloodline, this team is in the worst need of assistance, and they did get some of it in the form of our boy right here, and then AGL Golden Frieza as well. But if we look at the TUR scene, the most recent summonable TUR that this team has seen is this banner unit right here from 2024, being the 9th anniversary Golden Frieza, and then this is all free-to-play stuff. This is the TUR for this guy right here, and then this is a quest mode sort of exclusive what-if character that is a cool character in concept, but not very good as they're just a free-to-play TUR. You really can't expect too much from a free-to-play TUR, unfortunately. So, you know, you have Frieza and Cooler here. And I think that if this team were to see like proper buffs, like maybe Metal Cooler gets an EZA, or Metal Cooler right here, and then Final Form Cooler gets an EZA, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're looking at a decent little core 6 here for Wicked Bloodline, right? Goku and Frieza are not really a Wicked Bloodline character, but it can work. So I think A is really as high as I can put them. They have their usage in the Festival of Battles and stuff like that. But let's talk about Namek Goku. And with Namek Goku, it's the same sort of case, right? Where really I feel like where you're getting the most value out of this character is his ability to be like decent in the Festival of Battles, where he can potentially stack a good bit for you. He has the extra stuff right here. He loses his guard, unfortunately, but really what this guy, it comes down to is he has a little bit of damage reduction and then the ability to stack on both of his super attack effects, right? Where we have the all just stacking of defense with this character, especially. With Full Power Frieza, it is going to be a little bit trickier for the stacking with this character, right? Where the defensive raise is only going to be for 1 turn, but we are getting the stacks on the 18 key. With Namek Goku, you are going to be building up his defense with every super that you are doing. So especially in the Festival of Battles, I think that can potentially work out pretty well for you. But a baseline of guard and 60%, a 20% damage reduction that can be up to 50 if he's in slot 1 is not enough when you look at this character's start of turn defense. Considering a character like AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is in a bit of trouble right now. It's you know, it really does just sort of depend on like the route that they want to take with this character here. So it's I don't know, that was a bad tangent. Like it just really comes down to like this character is unable to take care of what they need to take care of in terms of defensive ability. But if you want to put them in slot 2 or slot 3 on a team, and it's like a slower building up event, like a red zone from the 10th anniversary of the Festival of Battles, you definitely can get away with running this character. But that's probably as high as I could put them right now. Next up on the list, we have Evolution Blue Vegeta. Now, I think he's probably A tier as well. You guys know how he works at this point. The baseline 50% damage reduction, the initial turn of guard, which is obviously very nice, but not like the be-all, end-all in terms of like being a defensive monster. The damage reduction building up, 80% damage reduction in guard is pretty good, but the start of turn defense is not that high. So I don't really have too much to say about this character at this point. You guys know how he works. Universe Survival Saga, superheroes, things like that. He's decent, right? The revival is very nice, but we've talked about this in the past, but what really kind of makes this character a little bit trickier than the UI Goku counterpart is the fact that, we can clear some of these tabs, but is the fact that this guy is a lot harder to get to his revival condition compared to somebody like AGL UI Goku, right? Where you have to have the revival is right here. Where is it? KO'd when the character receives 5 or more attacks. In slot 2, that's a little bit tricky to do. It's going to take probably 2 appearances to guarantee that you get 5 attacks, and sometimes that won't even be the case. It could be like, so that means if you get him on turn 1, it's going to be turn 5. If you get him turn 3, it's going to be at the earliest probably turn 7, right? Some events, you could probably get away with that, but it's not always going to be extremely consistent. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I think as high as I could put this guy is probably A. Offensively, not really the best, right? And that's the same case for AGL UI Goku, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But AGL UI Goku, it's the same sort of thing. The non-ability to stack here, you would need Trunks and Vegeta in order to make them stack. I think as high as I can go is A tier for this character right now. Now, another character who I probably am going to put in B. We'll put him A. I don't really know if any of these characters here are going to be on B. Really, we could just get rid of this tier. So we'll do something like this, right? Zoom in a little bit. There we go. So with God, Goku, and Hit, they're sort of a one-trick pony, right? They work well in the 3rd slot on like very specific teams. The biggest drawback to God, Goku, and Hit, the easiest way to do this, if we go... But God, Goku, and Hit, I guess we could talk about it, right? Where like they have their decent slot 3 potential and stuff like that, but they're very restricted in that regard. And they also just like, I don't even really know how to describe it, right? Like you guys can see here, like you are not taking this right here. Like you're not putting them in slot 2 for extra attack, right? And you're definitely not putting them in slot 1. They have no business being in slot 1. Right? 30% damage reduction is not enough by any stretch of the imagination. But in the 3rd slot here, they have extra key, they have extra attack. Like you guys can see, the attack goes up to 100 right here. And then if you were to put them in slot 2 or slot 3, you'd have this additional damage reduction right here, but no thank you. Then again, you get an action break. So interrupting the enemy, that's really valuable. So if there's one attack in slot 3, they have the chance to stun. I think this character is pretty good, all things considered. But their fatal flaw, 5 teams. This would be a character who would benefit greatly, and I mean greatly, from the tag mechanic, right? Now, they came out in 2021, so you can't really expect them to have that, and that's completely okay. But just on the counter side of that, if this were to be a tag character, you guys have seen this already with the way that this game has been operating lately, right? Like if we look at Frieza and Gogeta briefly here, like because of the tag mechanic, look at this. This is a joined forces character because they have to share the categories. This is a tag character. So we would get access to Universe 6. We get access to Universe 7. We get access to Pure Saiyans. We get access to Rapid Growth, right? All of these different categories would be given access to this character right here. Goku family, right? Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Transformation Boost. All of these different teams this character would get access to just from this mechanic alone. So the fact that they're joined forces, it does sort of limit them pretty heavily, but I still think overall they are a decent character, just not really worthy of being any higher than that. Let's go ahead and move on to the S tier, which is going to be Zamasu right here. Works really well on the Future Saga team. Super bosses, you guys know, that's a very like okay setup right now. But when we look at super bosses in specific, what I really like about this character is just how self-sufficient they are with their ability to orb change. When we look at the orb changing for this guy right here, no stacking or anything like that. But we do have the orb changing. We've got the effective against all types, which is extremely easy to get. Essentially a guaranteed crit. We have up to 30% damage reduction right here on top of 30% damage reduction. So if the enemy is not hitting very hard at the beginning of the fight, we can get up to 60% damage reduction on potential hits on a turn. which is not bad. But again, I wish this baseline could have been like 50. I think that would have been a little bit better. But they have very easy access to effective against all types, guaranteed crits, additional super attacks, damage reduction, orb changing, high key. This is a very good way to make like a self-sustaining EZA that is not going to make you like, you don't have to run and center the team around this character. Now, the only thing you really need to be focusing on in specific is making sure that you have some of these links active. But if you're running them on a team that's like Future Saga and you are sort of just like going out of your way to ensure that you're getting everything you need with this character, this is not going to be hard to do whatsoever. You guys can see, right, like Big Bad Boss is easy to get on a Zamasu setup. Dismal Future, Godly Power, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, like all of these are easy to get. When we look at this here, AGL Zamasu, right? That's 6 out of 7 links, right? The Infinite Zamasu, 7 links. The Zamasu portion of Rose and Zamasu, 6. 5, right? Like 4 from here, 4 from the Super EZA. When we click this character right here, his worst linking partner in terms of like characters you would actually run realistically, we get all this stuff right here. Extra key, extra attack, extra defense, and then extra crit chance, which you don't really need, unfortunately, but it does help for AGL Rose, I guess. But this guy, very, very nice. I think he fits pretty well onto the teams that you're running him for, and he ends up working out pretty well. So S tier for him for sure. Let's go ahead and move on to a character I'm going to be putting in the Z tier, and that is going to be AGL UI Goku. This one is very simple. It's very meta relevant right now. It could definitely change in the future, but AGL UI Goku, I'm sure as you guys know at this point, very, very easy to use this character in terms of the content right now. One guaranteed turn of dodging and then a very easy access to a revive. Really, really good for short form content that we are seeing right now. And you just really can't get much better than this UI Goku. Easy access to a revive, guaranteed dodging, right? 77% chance to dodge after that with building up chance. All you really need, just a defensive ace for short form content. And when we stick into a 1 to 5 turn meta, this guy is always going to find a way to sneak into things. You could run him off lead on a team if you need to, and he can potentially fulfill his role. So I think he's one of the best in the game right now. Grade A Vegeta. I think if this was the 10th anniversary meta, I would put him up here. But right now, events are hitting extremely hard. And you really want that damage reduction support from Super Saiyan 4 Goku to really get this character where you need him to be. But he also does fit on the Omega Shenron team, so you could also argue that as well. Very good slot 1 character. The problem is right now is these bosses are just hitting so hard that even if you are like you were a good slot 1 character, it almost like barely even matters. And we've seen that in the case of somebody like Beast Gohan, where he still can potentially get tagged up if you don't have all in the family. They don't take a couple hits beforehand, get everything that they need. Things can get a little bit tricky with this grade A Vegeta. So I think he's very good, but S is probably as high as I'm willing to put him. Let's go ahead and do these two at the same time. The 7-year EZAs, you guys know how good these characters are. These are like 2 units who are almost exclusively elite in like almost every form of content in the game, which cannot be said for a lot of characters right now in the game, right? Like even new summonable LRs are not elite in every form of content, but these guys have an answer for basically everything. Short form 3 to 4 turn content, these guys have that initial guard and damage reduction of 77%, so they can potentially hang in there with some of these hard-hitting supers. They have the ability to stack for longer form content. They have action break. They have rainbow orb changing when they transform. They've got good links. They have decent leader skills, right? These are really good characters that excel in almost every facet of the game right now. And yearly anniversary LR EZAs really are sort of the standard for the LR EZA, very similar to what we have seen with them on their initial release, right? Where it's like best unit in the game when they came out. Best 2 units in the game when they came out, right? Yearly anniversary LR EZAs, second best unit in the game when he came out, right? Like that sort of idea. So when we see this and we have EZAs like this, these 2 are just extremely dominant. Festival of Battles, you must run these guys in there if you can. You can get away with not running the gods, but I think Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like if you can put him on the team, you just put him on the team. So Z tier EZAs for sure. Let's move on to Kid Gohan, who is our teen Gohan, who's also very, very good. Not quite in Z tier, but I like him a lot. I think he is very good right now. With the way that he can work, he has the ability to stack. He has the ability to get a ton of offense pretty easily with his ability to get orbs and things like that. Really like the way that they designed this EZA, but I don't think he cracks the Z tier right now. Moving along, we have this Legion of Shadow Dragons. They work very well on the Omega Shenron team. That's really all it comes down to. Very good links for LR Omega Shenron doing their own support. They fit very well on that team. Trunks and Vegeta, I would say, are also S tier because of the fact that they're just so good in the festival. but that's really as high as I could put them. They are better than these two in the festival, right? Definitely better than these two. And then we'll finish this off with Golden Frieza, who I would also put in the Z tier. So this is what we got for this one. Today we have this is sort of the updated what I think for LR EZAs at the moment. If you want to move Goku down, you can, but I think just in terms of what content is right now, short form stuff, these are going to be like 4 of the best characters to run on teams because of the damage reduction. This guy has 90 with offsetting that goes down every other turn or every 2 turns now, so that's really, really good. And it just works out very well. So this is what I have right now. Big shout outs to all my members over on the YouTube side of things. If you want to become a member, you can click the link down below. Thank you guys again for 30,000 subscribers. We did hit it yesterday. So if you didn't watch yesterday's video, I appreciate you guys greatly. Thank you for all the support. If you did enjoy this one, don't forget to leave a like before you go. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.